Got a second? Oh. Tough to drink beer and fight at the same time. Alright, well, back to you, boss. Oh, another guard droid. Okay, I think we'll have Jolie do the walking around down on this level. And did he spot? Yes, several mines.
Sure.
Deadly, so we'll just do this. And I'm not sure. Oh, okay, that's not what I wanted, but that'll do. Datapad, that might be worth reading. I think if you set off one mine, I can't remember if they set each other off. I have memories of dozens of mines being set off, but that's from KotOR 2, when your cohorts decide they're going to run through a minefield. Sabbath. They're really pushing that gem. It must be more valuable than it appears to be when I read about it. Well, let's look in the inventory and see if I can find that latest datapad. These are all the, apparently the new items that we picked up. My. Datapad. Novice Novice Sith, such as yourself, cannot be trusted to remember even simple tasks, Acolyte. It is therefore prudent for your masters to explain themselves at length, using very small words. Yes, well, Squee 913 will know who that's referring to. The ancient sequencer on the lower levels can only be activated once all the sequencer tiles... Oh, another sneeze coming on. And by sneeze, I meant grand series of sneezes that probably have the neighbors phoning 911. Okay, where was I? I was drinking some beer. Hold on. There we go. That might help, or make it worse, one or the other. In either case, I will continue to drink beer. The ancient sequencer on the lower levels can only be activated once all the sequence tiles on the floor have been set to their active mode by walking on them in the correct pattern. To make all the tiles the same color, simply walk on the tiles in the pattern of an H. I trust there will not be another unfortunate incident like the last time. Well, again, another subtle clue onto the functioning of a puzzle. Can anybody devise what they may have meant? Me? Sarcastic? Never! Okay, and as I ran through a door with speed on and it gets stuck. So actually when I reapply it, it'll start the timer again, so...
And you need?
Actually in my best interest just to leave it the way it was, but
yes?
It's not like it's hard to reapply. So here's the pattern. Ooh, and a cutscene in case I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. Now, I assume the H includes this one. I can't remember. This one was special. I think it resets it. And you really don't need their help. It's just anybody that's as old as I and had one of the old Merlin games from way back, and I mean way back, it's quite a simple puzzle. It's just each light affects the lights around it, and even without reading that datapad, it only takes moments to figure out what they were getting at. So, this is the computer. The computer. And did you know, computer used to be a job, not a device? As did calculator. That's right, you could work your entire working life as a computer or a calculator. And they did almost precisely what it sounds like they did. They sat there and added numbers. A computer, for example, a job for a computer would be calculating what do they call it? Like cannonball tables? Oh, shoot, I can't remember what it's called now. Slipped my mind completely. Anyway, for the military, so that they would know how far a cannonball would go when the cannon was set at a certain number of degrees and that sort of thing. Ugh, somebody will remind me. Anyway, back to this. I'm rambling. Ramble. Welcome back, Revan. It has been some time since you last accessed my database. I was beginning to wonder if you had been terminated. I almost was, but I'm hard to kill. I am not Revan anymore. I am Garrett Khan. An odd statement, though it does explain certain conflicting data being read by my sensory input systems. I recognize your appearance from your last visit, which is stored in my data banks. However, I am detecting some significant changes in your composition since last visit. Your neurological patterns exhibit subtle yet substantive aberrations in both thought patterns and information processing. These changes have been noted and recorded in my database. Your database? Yes, database. A base that contains data. I am a completely self-sufficient, autonomous, interactive database constructed by the Rakata to record and store the entire history of the species. However, since the collapse of the Infinite Empire, there have been few events worth recording, and nobody has sought to access the information stored within my database until you came along. Due to the system's ability to monitor and repair themselves, you will find all the data within my archives has remained fully intact. Please choose the topic you wish information on. Prepositions and their proper use. Tell me about the Starforge. The Starforge was constructed during the apex of the Infinite Empire's power. Again, if it was infinite, it would not have an apex. A true technological marvel, it is an enormous space station that serves as both a factory and battle something. The Starforge can mass-produce immense fleets with a minimum of time and resources. In addition, the Starforge also shares much of the same technology used in my own construction. In many ways, the Starforge is like a living entity. It feeds, it hungers, it draws on the energy flowing through all living things, what you call the Force, the last time you were here. This ability to feed and consume on the living energy of the Force is the key to the Starforge's power, but ultimately it was also what led to the destruction of the Infinite Empire. What do you mean? The Rakata are by nature a cruel and savage species. The Starforge fueled itself with the hatred inherent in its own creators, and in doing so, accentuated these traits within the builders. In your terminology, the Starforge is a tool of the dark side. It corrupts those who use it, so that it can generate greater and greater amounts of negative energy to fuel itself. The builders thought that they were strong enough to control this effect, but they were wrong. They became victims of their own creation, and eventually their hatred turned them against each other. Civil war destroyed the Infinite Empire, a lesson to remember. Only one who is immensely strong in mind and will can harness the power of the Starforge without suffering a similar fate. I want to ask you something else. Due to my system's ability to monitor and repair themselves, blah blah blah, how can I shut off the disruptor field around this planet? The disruptor field was constructed as the Starforge's primary defense against enemy attack, and can only be deactivated from the upper levels of the temple. How can I get to the upper levels of the temple? My systems control the doors to the upper level, allowing only those who are worthy of the Rakata legacy to pass. The last time you were here, Revan, I unsealed the doors for you. However, the subtle neurological changes I detected in you earlier likely caused a failure in the recognition system that would have opened the doors for you. I have updated my database to recognize the new configurations in your mind, Revan. The doors to the upper level will once again open for you. I want to ask you something else. Do you know anything about the star maps? Would that matter anymore? I suppose just as basic sort of information. Clearly we don't need them anymore. We're here. Do you know anything about the star maps? The star maps were built on conquered worlds as a symbol of Rakuten dominance and glory. Each map showed the whole expanse of the infinite empire. Well, it obviously could not do that. With the Starforge at the center, there is no center to an infinite empire. When the empire fell, the Rakata fled back here to their homeworld. They sabotaged the star maps so the enslaved species would not use them to discover the Starforge or this planet. But I used the star maps to find this place. The star maps were created with the same technology as my own self-sufficient systems. Over the millennia, the maps have been slowly rebuilding and repairing themselves. As you informed me during the last visit to this world, the star maps are still in a damaged and incomplete state. It is not possible to locate the Starforge using a single map. However, the star maps have repaired themselves to the extent that it is possible to discover the Starforge's location by combining bits of data from several of the maps, as you did. I want to ask you something else. Tell me of the history of the Infinite Empire? Well, okay, if you're going to go there, I'm going to have another slurp of beer. And this beer today is from the Whistler Brewing Company. And you can use my Google address if you want to send me free beer. Premium Export Lager. Proudly brewed in British Columbia, Canada. And it's very good beer, but their bottles are a little small. They're very, very carefully excluding the size. 330 milliliters. Yeah, that's about 60 milliliters less than most So they're selling it for the same price, but giving you less. That's dirty pool. Especially when they're fooling with beer. Should be an offense punishable by death. Oh, sorry. We were, what were we doing? Playing some sort of game? Oh, here we are. Tell me about the history of the Infinite Empire. At its peak, the Infinite Empire ruled over 500 planets. Oh, very small values of the word infinite. And was comprised of 10 billion something. But the glory of the Infinite Empire was built on war and slaughter. It was inevitable it should collapse upon itself. Conflict among the power-hungry warlords escalated to full civil war. Worlds were ravaged and millions of lives were lost. Sensing a weakness of their oppressors, the slaves rebelled and overthrew their masters. And then came the plague. The plague? Its origins were unknown. Perhaps the creation of an enslaved species, perhaps a mutation of a natural virus. It killed only Rakata, and it spread to every corner of the galaxy. The Infinite Empire crumbled into dust as the few Rakata survivors fled back here to their homeworld. All evidence of their existence was destroyed by the species they once enslaved. But even hidden here on their secret homeworld, they were not safe. Millions died from the deadly plague. Many more died in the never-ending civil war. I want to ask you something else, and I think we're done, actually. Yes, we are done. I'll be going now. As you wish. Please return if you find yourself in need of any information stored within my database. Well, it is back upstairs for us. I think we've searched this. Indeed. And we want to go this way. And all the way back to the other side again. I wonder if this is repopulated since we left. A few more fights or something we have to deal with? No, maybe not. Alright, that's the exit. So this is the door. Now, I think I'm going to continue on and record the next section, but just in case I don't, I would like to say I thank you for watching, I thank you for listening, and I encourage you to leave comments, suggestions, or infantile abuse. I promise I read it all. And if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel or give me the thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.